it and follow up on it. I mean, I know, I'm not going to...
Brian,
Yes.
I know how she's talking about.
You already aware of it?
I've called the Humane Society 4 times.
So have I.
They don't do anything. I can't leave the house unless the tenants will let me in. They won't. I've been up there to St. Bernard. Yeah. I've been up there numerous times, and you've seen me there. I mean, I stood in the middle of the street and yelled at the lady the day she was out in the yard with her bag picking all the feces out of the front yard. I mean, there's only so much that you can do. I can't sit up there and scream at her constantly every day of the week.
We appreciate your concern. Not to bring up a sore subject, but yours is a case in point. While council last year looked at a landlord-tenant inspection process to address those kind of problems, but it was shot down.
What can we do to change this? Surely, this can't just be, there's no answer.
You lobby against the landlord to council to pass an ordinance.
Well, tell me how. I'm here.
Sticking carrots in front of them.
Write letters to the editors, speak up, and tell them that we need to have an ordinance.
Make a lot of noise.
Okay.
Make a lot of noise.
But we get in trouble for that.
The house that she's talking about, how it ever come to light is beyond me. This is a duplex. And Fisher owns half. Another lady owns the other half.
I tried to leave that out, but
In the one half, she pays an exterminator to come in and take care of the roaches this month. The other half, I mean, there's nothing, if there was a way of beginning to take care of it, I would.
the only thing I will say in closing is I know that Pam and the code committee are trying to see what can be accomplished with the property maintenance code update that we did at the end of last year. And based upon how that begins to progress, they're going to revisit the landlord tenant issue. And I would only suggest to you that, and I don't know that they will, but if they decide that that's the best course of action, I would just encourage you that if it does come back up, you're going to need to come and speak out, because council will hear from the other side once it turned down. So the approach we agreed to at the end of last year was we were going to try to see if we could use the tools under the property maintenance code to be able to address some of these problems. And it's honestly, it's a little early yet to tell whether that's going to work or not. That's what we're doing.
As far as, you're concerned with the child being in there, cleanliness of the place, I mean, you can certainly call health department, you can call children's services and anonymously report them. Have you tried that?
I did, and within about 2 hours, had a knock on my door from Ed Fisher. They called and told him who complained.
Really? And it's supposed to
Seriously.
be-
So it's not anonymous. It's not.
That's a shame.
And you know what? I'm afraid enough of them that I'm not going to make too many waves, because these people are up all night and I sleep all night and I like my house. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to put my neck on the chopping block too much.
I can understand that.
Anyone else wish to address council? Doesn't matter.
Oh, before the lady?
She deferred to you.
Oh,
I told you
all right.
that would be either way.
Gary Gearhart, Ray Street, Greenville. Sitting here listening to Mr. Peden, it seems like there's an undertone from this council and some other borough officials that they don't like our watchdog group. Why they don't, I don't know, because it's a 1,400 member group that has concerns about Greenville and what happens to Greenville. And to say that we're troublemakers and we throw stuff on the wall just to see what sticks, I don't think it's hardly fair. Because everybody in Greenville don't come to council meetings. I think we are a good representation of what people do say out on the street. And as far as you being appointed to council, Mr. Shipley, the undertow in town is they can't figure out how you was appointed to council after losing the election. That's the bottom line. Okay? As far as who's president, that doesn't bother me a bit, nor does it a lot of people. But they just want to know how the position was filled. Was there other candidates that applied for the job, and the people in Greenville voted you down, then they feel it's a slap in the face for you being appointed over anybody else that, you know, they got, put their hat in the ring, so to speak. And that's the underlying tone, okay? And that's stuff that we hear all the time. Mr. Peden mentioned Facebook. If anybody's gonna bring their conclusions about stuff that's said on Facebook, that's far beyond what's going on here. Okay, I just want to make that clear. You know, this group ain't here to cause trouble, throw stuff on the wall. We're just a concerned bunch of citizens that would like to know how things are going, put our ideas in there, and hopefully together we can figure out some things to make this town happen. We don't come down here to stir up trouble, but we have legitimate questions. I think the last few meetings, there was people in our group that did have legitimate questions. But this group responsible for all the bad things that's going on in town right now is not fair. And that's exactly what's going on. This group here of 14, almost 1,500 members is getting blamed on the bad things that's happening in the town. I don't think that's hardly fair. And I don't think it's fair for anybody to repeat that we're the troublemakers or we're throwing stuff on the wall to see what sticks. That's not fair to us. I mean, we're here legitimately to see if there's anything we can do to help. And we have questions, which anyone in this town can come here. If everybody in town would come down here with their questions complete, you couldn't hold a meeting here. So we're almost, if we like it or not, we're kind of your eyes and ears for what we hear on the street. And some of these questions we bring up is not just from our watchdog group, but these are questions that people out in the street don't come to meetings, and probably a lot of them don't even vote. I mean, the last election we had here was a poor turnout. I think we had 15%. You know, what I'm appalled at the size of our town, we had 15% of the people in this town voted. And for this town to move forward, we, as a group, is going to try to get more people to get involved in voting. Me and the wife's been on the election committee for 8 years now. We take care of every election up at the American Legion. And that's something we're proud to do. But I will not let people say that we're here as troublemakers and throwing crap on the wall to see what sticks. That's not fair. It's not fair to us as a group, and it's not fair to you guys either. Because all that does is undercut anything we're trying to do. That's all I have to say on that subject. Thanks.
All I would say, and I think you can somewhat understand a certain level of frustration and concern on the council when when council's being asked month after month to answer the same questions and answer the same issues. And that's the level of frustration I think we're starting to hear a little bit. In answer to your question about my appointment, everyone except for one on council addressed to you tonight directly why they voted to appoint me and why they felt that was the right choice. Now, I don't know if that is sufficient to finally put this to rest or whether we'll talk about it again next month. But the facts have not changed. I lost by 10 votes. There was an opening. I put my name in. This council felt that I was the best qualified candidate. You heard one of the other applicants who was also a qualified candidate who said he has no issue with the fact that I was better qualified. So I don't know how much longer we want to continue to keep rehashing this issue. And I would only ask you, I lost by 10, not that that's the issue, but there were other candidates in that race who are held up in high regard, like a former mayor who lost by 98 votes. But yet somehow my loss by 10 votes is a repudiation by the voters. Can you kind of explain that to me somehow? Because, I still garnered nearly 460 or 70 some votes. So I like to think you take a different approach than I do. When I go to vote, and I believe with what the message was that was being sent by the voters of Greenville, is they vote for who they want to put in office. They vote for someone. They don't vote against someone. They voted for Pam, they voted for Don, they voted for Anthony. That doesn't mean they voted against me. That means they voted for somebody they wanted in office. It's two ways to look at the street, that's all.
Isn't that how our democratic society is supposed to work, though, right? Whether you lost by one or you won by one, whatever the citizens wanted, that's what's supposed to happen. Because government is supposed to work for us, it's supposed to be by the people, for the people. And that's the underlying tone in Greenville overall, is democratic. In a democratic society, the one with the votes wins. Now that would be, you know, we're small government here, but imagine if that would happen in the presidency. You know what I mean? You know, and it all starts here on a local level, and I'm just trying to let you know what the undertone is in Greenville, is they just couldn't understand how you did not win the election, but then turned around and got appointed, but I think you cleared that up.
And I only last to say on that point, it's a certain perception that what happened here in Greenville is a unique situation. I would encourage you to look through the election history of Mercer County in other municipalities. I mean, it was not too long ago in the city of in Borough of Sharpsville, where the mayor became the manager and the council member, and they replaced with someone who was defeated for election. This is not some massive conspiracy that has never happened in government service. That's the part I have trouble with. You know, and I have no problem answering questions. Council has no problem answering questions about that. But the question the council, I believe, has: at what point do we quit talking about it, and do we start talking about the Trinity property, the abandoned houses, the lack of jobs, the development of the downtown? Because I'll tell you, whether I stay or whether I go is not going to change those things one way or another. So
by no means.
if we want to spend every month talking about my appointment, we can put that on the agenda, and that can be the issue, and we can defer everything else. You know, at some point we have to decide what we're going to be as a priority. I'll let you answer, Mr. Jones.
You can look at the math and the logic in a different way. When Jason resigned, that created another position. Let's just put it on the flip side that was the election. He was the next in line to fill that seat. All depends how you look at it.
Also, I want to tell you, I do not dislike your organization. I think it's a good organization. It should be someone keeping your eye on it. Because you have a problem, come ask us or talk. But I use a bad term and say throwing against the wall. But I do think that that's what has happened with this situation tonight. It just keeps coming and coming. Other things, I agree with you. It should be brought up and it should be explained to you. But don't take it that I don't dislike you, because I don't. I think you're doing a good job. You're making people think about what they're doing. There's nothing wrong with that. But I do appreciate you coming, and I do appreciate your thoughts.
Yeah, I've talked to quite a few of you in person, especially Beth, and I would say Gary and Dee. You guys know each other. And what's great about your group is you have wonderful ideas on how we can move forward. And I think that's what Skip's getting at. Come and talk to us. Don't just talk to me, don't just talk to Anthony. Come and bring your ideas forward, bring those ideas. Some of the ones I've seen on your page and some of the ones you've told me in person, whether it's when we're out eating dinner or we're on the phone talking, you have some great ways of thinking, great things you want to accomplish. Don't think that council thinks that you're the enemy. That's not it at all. It's just if we can quit focusing on the old issues and start moving forward with some of those awesome ideas you guys have, then maybe we can work together and start changing some things. But that's what I hope to see. I hope to see some open communication between us and you. It would be great.
I'd like to say, address your t-shirt orders, imagine the possibilities. I would never want to take that away from anybody. There's always room for better, there's always room for improvement. But in doing so, don't forget the things that are being accomplished. It's a two-way thing. Things are getting better in some ways, and there's some new ideas and things that should be done, but let's not be blind